She rented a millionaire boyfriend for $5 for the family Christmas dinner, never imagining he was the man she had rejected in the past. Before the story begins, leave in the comments the city you are watching from. And at the end, do not forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. Emma Carter was having the worst day of her life. Sitting on a park bench, she stared at her phone in despair while reading her mother's message for the 10th time. "Sweetheart, your sister is bringing her fiancé to Christmas dinner. Your cousin brought his new girlfriend. Even your younger brother found someone. And you? Are you going to show up alone again? The whole family is talking, Emma." Emma dropped her head back and let out a loud groan of frustration. "Perfect! Just perfect!" she shouted at the gray sky, not caring if anyone heard. "Where on earth am I supposed to find a boyfriend in 3 days? Where? Does anyone rent boyfriends in this city?" She let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. "Of course not, because my life is not pathetic enough. Now I need to hire a fake boyfriend, and I cannot even afford that. 27 years old, 3 jobs, and not even enough money to solve her own problems." The family Christmas dinner was in 3 days, and she knew exactly how it would go. Aunt Margaret with that pity smile, Cousin Sandra rolling her eyes, and her mother sighing dramatically the whole night. Emma opened her wallet and counted the crumpled bills. $53 until the end of the month. 20 for electricity, 15 for gas, 10 for food. $5, she murmured. "I have $5 left. Who would agree to be a fake boyfriend for $5? Nobody, because everyone has more dignity than I do." "I will." Emma almost fell off the bench. She turned her head so fast her neck cracked. A man was standing there, just a few steps away. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing an expensive black coat and a wool scarf. His dark hair was slightly messy from the snow, and his eyes shined with something between amusement and recognition. "Sorry, what?" Emma blinked, confused. The man took a few steps toward her, his hands in his pockets, a slight smile on his face. "You said you need a boyfriend for a Christmas dinner. I accept the job." Emma stared at him as if he had grown a second head. "You were listening to me?" "I was passing by." He pointed to the path behind him. "I heard you shouting about renting a boyfriend. I thought I could help. Are you some kind of lunatic?" Emma stood up, holding her bag tight against her body. The man laughed, a real warm laugh that somehow made Emma's chest tighten with a strange feeling of familiarity. "I'm not a lunatic, just someone who walked by and heard a desperate woman who needs help." Emma looked at him carefully. He seemed to be in his early 30s, maybe. Good-looking, with a confident but not arrogant posture. And that coat? Definitely not cheap. "Why would you do this?" she asked, suspicious. "You do not know me." "True." He tilted his head, studying her face in a way that made Emma feel exposed. "But it seems you really need help, and it happens that I'm free on Christmas Eve." "You do not have family, friends, a real girlfriend?" "I do have family, but they're traveling this year. Friends are all busy, and girlfriend." He paused, that strange smile appearing again. "No, I don't have a girlfriend." Emma bit her lip. This was madness, complete madness. But she was desperate. "I can only pay $5, she said, almost as a test. $5 and nothing more. The man laughed so loudly that a few birds flew from the nearby trees, startled. $5? He repeated, his eyes shining. "You want to hire me for $5? Emma felt her face heat up with embarrassment. "I know it's ridiculous. Forget it. It was a stupid idea." "I accept." Emma blinked. "You accept?" "I accept. $5 is fine." "It's fine?" Emma shook her head, incredulous. "Who are you? Why would you do this?" He extended his hand. "You can call me Nathan." Emma looked at his hand, then at his face. There was something familiar in those eyes, but she could not identify what it was. Hesitant, she shook his hand. "Emma, I'm Emma." "Nice to meet you, Emma." The way he said her name, soft and almost intimate, sent a shiver up her spine. "Are you sure about this?" Emma asked. "Because my family is complicated. My mother will ask 1,000 questions. My aunt loves gossip. My father will try to intimidate you, and my sister will roll her eyes at everything I say." Nathan smiled. "Sounds fun." "Fun?" Emma let out a hysterical laugh. "You really are crazy." "Maybe a little." He took his phone out of his pocket. "Give me your number. We need to figure out the details. Our story, how long we've been dating, how we met." Emma gave him the number, still unable to believe this was happening. How long have we been together? Nathan asked, typing on his phone. 6 months? 6 months. And how did we meet? Emma thought quickly. At the cafe where I work in the mornings. You're a regular customer. Cafe, Nathan repeated, and something crossed his face. A shadow, maybe? Or a memory. And what do I do for a living? A teacher? High school? He laughed again, that warm laugh that made Emma's stomach twist. Teacher. All right, I can be a teacher. Is there any rule? Emma asked. For this arrangement? Nathan put his phone away and looked straight into her eyes. A few. First, no physical contact besides what's necessary. I can hold your hand, put my arm around you in front of your family, but nothing else. Emma nodded, relieved. Second rule, if you feel uncomfortable at any moment, tell me and I'll leave. No questions. No trouble. Okay. And the third rule, he paused, his smile becoming softer. Just be yourself. You don't need to pretend anything with me. Emma felt her chest tighten. Why was a stranger being so kind? Why are you doing this? She asked again, her voice lower now. Nathan watched her for a long moment, the snow falling between them. Let's just say I have my reasons. He started walking away. I'll text you later so we can plan everything. And Emma? Yes? Everything will be fine, trust me. Then he turned and disappeared among the snow-covered trees, leaving Emma alone in the park with her heart racing and 1,000 questions in her mind. She had just hired a fake boyfriend for $5, a complete stranger, who somehow didn't feel like a stranger at all. Emma barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Nathan's face. That mysterious smile, those eyes that seemed to hold secrets. And worst of all, the annoying feeling that she already knew him from somewhere. Impossible, she murmured, turning to the side on the narrow bed in her tiny apartment. I would remember a guy like that. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. 3 a.m. Emma grabbed it, blinking at the light of the screen. A message from an unknown number. Hi, girlfriend. It's Nathan. Can't sleep because you're thinking of me? Emma almost dropped the phone. Presumptuous, she typed back. But she was smiling. Realistic, came the immediate reply. So should we plan our story properly? I don't want to mess things up in front of your family. Emma sat up on the bed, hugging her knees. Okay, go ahead. First date, where was it? Emma thought for a moment. At the cafe where I work. You ordered a cappuccino and wrote your number on the napkin. Romantic. I like it. She could almost hear him smiling, and I did that because I spilled coffee on your shirt and got all nervous apologizing. You thought it was funny. There was a longer pause this time. Spilling coffee, interesting choice for a story. Is there a problem? No. Perfect. Another pause. And when was our first kiss? Emma felt her face warm. Do we need that? Your family might ask. Right. Third date? At the park? It was snowing? You like romantic cliches, don't you? Be quiet, you're the one who asked. Nathan sent a laughing emoji. Relax. Snowy park is perfect. Anything else I should know? Hobbies? Favorite food? A movie you hate? Emma laughed softly, settling deeper into the bed. I hate horror movies. I love pasta, and my hobby is, well, working because I have 3 jobs. 3 jobs. His tone changed. Emma, don't start, she cut him off. Everyone has their struggles. These are mine. Fair enough. And what else? I need to know my girlfriend. They spent the next hour texting. Emma learned that Nathan supposedly liked jazz, ran every morning, and had a cat named Whiskers. She made up half that information, but he agreed to everything with good humor. When they finally stopped texting, it was almost 5 a.m. Emma had to get up in 2 hours for her shift at the cafe. I'm going to regret this, she whispered to the dark ceiling, but she was smiling. The next morning, Emma was behind the cafe counter, yawning every 5 seconds, when her best friend Jessica showed up. You look like you got run over by a truck, Jessica said, sitting on the stool. Double coffee, please. Thanks for the encouragement, Emma grumbled. For making the drink. You always know what to say. That's what friends are for. Jessica grabbed the cup and took a long sip. So what happened? You only look like that when something went very wrong or very right. Emma looked around. The cafe was empty at that hour. She leaned over the counter. I hired a fake boyfriend. Jessica spit the coffee back into the cup. You did what? Shh. Emma made a quiet sign. Don't yell. Emma Carter, you completely lost your mind? Probably. Emma began wiping the counter nervously. But I was desperate. The Christmas dinner is in 2 days, and my mother won't stop sending me messages about showing up alone again. Jessica blinked several times, processing the information. Okay, take a deep breath and tell me everything. From the beginning. Emma told her the whole story. The bench at the park, the desperate yelling, Nathan appearing out of nowhere. The $5. When she finished, Jessica's mouth was wide open. Let me see if I got this right. A random guy, handsome and well-dressed, heard you yelling in the park and offered to be your fake boyfriend for $5? Yes. Emma? What? This is either too good to be true, or he's a serial killer. Emma rolled her eyes. He's not a serial killer. How do you know? Because, Emma paused. Okay, I don't know. But he seemed nice. All serial killers seem nice, that's how they get victims. Jessica, sorry, but someone has to be the voice of reason here. Jessica grabbed Emma's phone. Show me the messages. Emma unlocked the phone and handed it to her. Jessica read the messages, frowning. He's funny, she admitted reluctantly. And he seems, I don't know, polite, but it's still weird. I think it's weird too, Emma confessed. But what choice do I have? Show up alone again and listen to my whole family asking me embarrassing questions all night. Jessica sighed. When are you meeting him before the dinner? This afternoon. He suggested we meet to, how did he say it, practice being a convincing couple. Okay, that's cute. Jessica handed the phone back. But I'm going with you. What? No. Yes, someone needs to protect you in case he's crazy. Jess, don't argue. Either I go, or I tell your mother you hired a fake boyfriend. Emma's eyes widened. You wouldn't. Try me. You're a terrible friend. I'm the best friend. That's why I'm going to save you from yourself. Jessica finished the coffee and stood up. Send me the place and time. I'll be there, but I'll watch from a distance. If he seems safe, I'll leave. Emma knew arguing was pointless when Jessica made up her mind. Fine. I'll let you know. That afternoon, Emma was at the mall, standing in front of the coffee shop, checking her phone for the 20th time. Nathan had set the meeting for 3 o'clock. It was 3:05. He's not coming, she murmured. Of course he's not coming. Why would he? Talking to yourself is a sign of madness. Emma jumped, turning around quickly. Nathan was there, wearing dark jeans and a gray sweater that highlighted his broad shoulders. He looked even more handsome than she remembered. You scared me. Sorry. He smiled. I got here 5 minutes ago, but you were so focused on your phone that you didn't notice me. Emma felt her face warm. I was just checking something. Sure. His eyes sparkled with amusement. So, ready for our first couple practice? About that. Emma looked around. Jessica was 3 stores away, pretending to look at shoes but clearly watching everything. My best friend is here, to make sure you're not, well, a serial killer? Nathan finished, looking more amused than offended. Something like that. Smart. I would approve of the same if I were you. He waved in Jessica's direction, and she looked visibly surprised. Do you want to call her over for official introductions? Emma blinked. Seriously? Why not? If we're doing this, let's do it right. Emma signaled to Jessica, who walked over with a suspicious expression. Jess, this is Nathan. Nathan, my best friend Jessica. Nathan extended his hand with a genuine smile. Nice to meet you, and thank you for looking out for Emma. It's good to know she has someone watching over her. Jessica shook his hand, studying his face. You look familiar, she said, frowning. Have we met before? Something crossed Nathan's face. Too quick for Emma to read. I don't think so. I have one of those common faces. Jessica didn't seem convinced, but she let it go. She looked at Emma. I'll leave you two to talk. But Emma, call me later. I will. Jessica walked away, but not before giving Nathan one last evaluating look. When they were alone, Nathan laughed softly. She's very protective. She's the best, Emma said. Even if she's annoying sometimes. Good friends are irritating. It means they care. He pointed toward the coffee shop. Shall we sit? We have a lot to talk about before the big day. They sat at a table in the corner. Nathan ordered coffee and Emma ordered hot chocolate. So, Nathan began, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. Tell me about your family. Who's going to be there? Emma made a face. Get ready, it's a lot of people. Emma took a sip of her hot chocolate and started counting on her fingers. There are my parents, of course, my mom Linda and my dad George. My older sister Catherine, who's bringing her perfect fiancé, the lawyer Brandon. My younger brother Tyler, who surprisingly got himself a girlfriend named Melissa. Then there's Aunt Diane, who asks invasive questions. Uncle Charles, who tells the same bad jokes every year. My cousin Amy, who loves making me feel bad about my life. And my Grandma Ruth, who's the only normal person in the whole family. Nathan listened closely, a smile slowly growing on his face. Sounds lively. Lively is a polite way to say chaotic. Emma sighed. My mom will interrogate you about your career plans. My dad will try to intimidate you with sports questions. Catherine will compare you to Brandon the whole time. And Amy, Emma paused dramatically. Amy will try to find out how much money you make. She really asks that? Last year she asked my other cousin's boyfriend how much he paid for rent, in front of everyone, during dinner. Nathan laughed, shaking his head. Your family sounds interesting. Interesting is another polite way to say crazy. Emma rested her chin on her hand. Are you sure you want to do this? You can still back out. And miss the chance to earn $5? Never. His eyes sparkled with amusement. Besides, I handle complicated families pretty well. How can you be so sure? Nathan stayed quiet for a moment, stirring his coffee. Personal experience. My family has its moments too. Emma noticed he wasn't going to say more, so she changed the subject. Okay, let's practice. Pretend you're my dad. Interrogate me. Nathan straightened his posture, cleared his throat, and suddenly his voice became deeper and more serious. So, young man, where did you meet my daughter? Emma had to hold back a laugh. He was perfectly imitating that intimidating, protective father tone. At the cafe where she works, sir. She spilled coffee on my shirt. And you found that attractive? Nathan continued in character, raising his eyebrows. I thought the way she got all flustered apologizing was very cute, sir. Nathan crossed his arms. And what are your intentions with my daughter? Emma burst out laughing. Stop, you sound exactly like my dad. How do you do that? Nathan relaxed back into himself, smiling. Natural talent. Now your turn. You're your mother asking me embarrassing questions. Emma adjusted her posture, put on a worried expression, and exaggerated her voice. Nathan, dear, have you thought about when you're going to get married? Because, you know, Emma is already 27 and the clock is ticking, if you know what I mean. Nathan almost spit his coffee from laughing so hard. Your mom actually says that? Word for word, last year she gave me a book about freezing eggs for Secret Santa. No. Yes, in front of everyone. My grandma laughed so much she almost choked on the turkey. Nathan was laughing so loudly that people at nearby tables started looking over. Your family is pure gold. I can't wait to meet all of them. You're saying that now. Wait until Aunt Diane asks why you haven't proposed to me yet. She does that? She did it to Amy's boyfriend after 3 months of dating. The poor guy got so nervous he spilled red wine on her dress. Nathan leaned forward, his eyes bright. And what happened to him? They broke up 2 weeks later. Amy said he didn't know how to handle pressure. Charming. Emma shrugged. My family. What can I do? They spent the next hour rehearsing possible scenarios. Nathan turned out to be surprisingly good at improvising, coming up with quick, funny answers for every absurd question Emma invented. Okay, last one, Emma said. You're Catherine, my perfect sister, judge me. Nathan tucked imaginary hair behind his ear, put on a smug expression, and spoke in a high-pitched voice. Emma, dear, it's so adorable that you finally found someone. Brandon and I are already planning the wedding. Cathedral, 500 guests, honeymoon in France. And you two? Have you thought about the future, or are you still in that phase? Emma clapped her hands, impressed. Perfect, scarily perfect. I watch a lot of movies, Nathan said modestly. Emma looked at the clock and gasped. Wow, it's already 5 o'clock. I have to go. I work at the restaurant at 6. 3 jobs, Nathan murmured, more to himself. You work too much. Bills don't pay themselves. Emma grabbed her bag. But thank you for today. It was fun. It was. Nathan stood up too. So, see you on Christmas Eve? What time should I pick you up? 7 o'clock? Dinner is at 8, but we're always late anyway. 7 is perfect. I'll pick you up at your place. Send me the address. Emma hesitated. About that, my apartment is kind of small and messy, and it's in a neighborhood that's a little… Emma? Nathan interrupted her gently. I don't mind. Send me the address. Okay. Emma typed on her phone and sent the location. Done. Nathan checked his phone and nodded. Perfect. Oh, and Emma? Yes? What color is the dress you're going to wear? Emma blinked, surprised. Why? So I can match my tie. Something warm spread through Emma's chest. He was taking this seriously, really seriously. "Red," she said, feeling her face heat up. "I'm wearing a red dress." "Red, noted." Nathan smiled. "You're gonna look beautiful." Emma left the coffee shop with her cheeks burning, her heart beating faster than usual. This was just an arrangement, a $5 deal. Why was she feeling like this? Jessica was waiting outside, leaning against the wall with her arms crossed. So? So what? You're in love with him. I am not. Yes, you are. I saw you through the window. You were laughing, blushing, doing that thing with your hair you always do when you're nervous. Emma touched her hair automatically. I don't do anything. You do. And he was looking at you in a way. In what way? Jessica paused, studying her friend's face. Like he already knew you for years. Emma felt a cold flutter in her stomach. You think he looks familiar too? I do. I can't place it, but I swear I've seen that face somewhere. Jessica shook her head. But maybe it's just an impression. Boston isn't that big. They started walking toward the parking lot. Jess, I'm making a huge mistake, aren't I? Probably. Jessica put her arm around her friend's shoulders. But at least it's going to be an interesting mistake. Emma laughed, but inside her uneasiness grew. There was something about Nathan, something she couldn't identify, and the more time she spent with him, the stronger that feeling became. The next morning, Emma woke up to a flood of messages from her mother. Emma, did you confirm you're bringing someone? Is he handsome? Does he have a good job? Please tell me this isn't another case of 3 dates and goodbye. Your sister already picked out her wedding dress. Emma groaned and buried her face in the pillow. 1 day left, 1 single day until Christmas dinner, and she still wasn't sure if this was going to work or explode in her face. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Nathan. Good morning, girlfriend. Nervous? Emma typed back. Terrified. You? Calm. I've handled worse. Like what? There was a pause before the answer. Long story. I'll tell you someday. Emma frowned. Nathan was very good at dodging personal questions. Whenever she tried to learn more about him, he changed the subject or gave vague answers. Who was this man anyway? And why, the more she thought about him, the more certain she was that their paths had crossed before. Emma spent the entire day at the cafe completely distracted. She spilled milk 3 times, forgot 2 customers' orders, and almost put salt in the coffee instead of sugar. Okay, what's going on with you? Asked her boss, Mr. Williams, a 60-year-old man who had worked there for 30 years. In 20 minutes, you caused more confusion than in a whole year. Sorry, Mr. Williams, I'm just nervous. Nervous about what? Someone die? No. It's just tomorrow is Christmas and, family dinner. He waved his hand knowingly. My wife gets the same every year, spends 3 days cooking and another 3 complaining about the relatives. Emma laughed in spite of her nerves. That's exactly it. It'll be fine, girl. It's just a dinner. What could go wrong? Emma thought about Nathan, the crazy arrangement, the huge lie she was about to tell her whole family. A lot of things, Mr. Williams. A lot of things. Her shift finally ended at 5 in the afternoon. Emma ran home, took the fastest shower of her life, and started tearing apart her closet looking for the red dress she had mentioned to Nathan. Where is it? She muttered, throwing clothes everywhere. I know it's here somewhere. 15 minutes later, she found the dress wrinkled at the bottom of the closet. It was simple, with thin straps reaching the knee. Nothing fancy, but it was the only red dress she owned. It'll have to do, she sighed, hanging it on the door to get the wrinkles out. Her phone rang. Jessica. So, ready for the big day? Ready is a strong word. Terrified is more accurate. You'll be fine. Nathan seems nice. Yeah, but... Emma fell back on the bed. Jess, what if my family finds out? What if someone asks a question we didn't practice? What if... Emma, breathe. You're panicking. I am. This was a horrible idea. I should cancel everything right now. You're not canceling anything. You're going to show up tomorrow with that handsome man, make your family die of envy, and finally have a peaceful Christmas dinner. Emma bit her lip. What if I like him? There was silence on the other end. What? What if I already like him, Jess? We barely know each other, but every time you text me, my heart races. Every time I think about him, I start smiling like an idiot. It's ridiculous. Jessica let out a soft laugh. It's not ridiculous. It's human. But he was hired for $5. That's no basis for a relationship. Who says it has to be? Enjoy the night, have fun, and then you'll see what happens. Easy for you to say. Emma, you deserve to be happy, even if it's just one Christmas night pretending to have a perfect boyfriend. After they hung up, Emma stared at the ceiling. Jessica was right. She deserved a good night. And whether Nathan was real or not, at least she would enjoy trying. The next day, Emma woke up with her stomach in knots. Christmas Day, the day of the dinner, the day of the big lie. You can do this, she told her reflection in the mirror. It's just a dinner, a few hours. You've survived worse. Her phone vibrated. Nathan. Good morning. Merry Christmas. Ready to meet the family? Emma typed back with shaky fingers. As ready as someone jumping out of a plane with no training. Such confidence. I like it. Nathan, seriously, if you want to back out? Emma. I'll be there at 7. Relax. She let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. At least he seemed confident. The hours went by slowly. Emma tried watching TV, cleaning the apartment, reading a book. Nothing worked. She was officially in full panic mode. At 6:30, she started getting ready. She put on the red dress, light makeup, and pinned half of her hair back, leaving the rest loose. Simple but presentable. Her phone beeped. A message from her mother. What time are you arriving? Catherine is already here with Brandon. They brought very expensive French wine. Emma rolled her eyes. Of course they did. Perfect, Catherine. She answered that she'd be there in an hour and prepared herself for more anxious messages. But the phone stayed quiet. At exactly 7 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Emma took 3 deep breaths before opening the door. Nathan was standing there, and Emma had to hold on to the doorknob. He was wearing black dress pants, a white shirt, and a red tie that matched her dress perfectly. His hair was neatly brushed back, and he was holding a bouquet of white flowers. Hi, he said, smiling. You look beautiful. Emma looked at the flowers, then at him. You brought flowers. For your mother. First impressions matter. Something melted inside Emma's chest. He had thought of everything. Nathan, you didn't have to. I wanted to. He offered his hand. Ready? Emma grabbed her bag, locked the door, and placed her hand in his. It was warm, steady, comforting. As ready as I'll ever be. They walked down the building stairs in silence. Outside, Emma expected to see a taxi or an Uber. Instead, there was a sleek black car parked out front. Is that your car? She asked, stunned. It is. Why? Nathan, you're a high school teacher. How do you have a car like that? He paused, his hand on the passenger door handle. Family inheritance. I got lucky. Emma wasn't fully convinced, but she let it go. He opened the door for her, and Emma sat in the most comfortable seat she had ever been in. Nathan got in on the driver's side and started the engine. Your parents' address? Emma told him, and they began driving through Boston's decorated streets. Christmas lights twinkled in the windows, fresh snow covered the sidewalks, and families walked together wearing hats and colorful scarves. Emma? Nathan said after a few minutes of silence. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why are you so nervous? It's just your family. Emma let out a humorless laugh. You don't understand. My family has expectations. My sister is a successful lawyer marrying another lawyer. My brother works in tech and makes a fortune. And I work in 3 different places to pay for a tiny apartment and can barely get by. And that makes you less important? To them, sometimes it feels like it does. Nathan stayed quiet, his fingers tightening on the wheel. Then let's show them they're wrong. Emma looked at him, surprised. How? By being yourself. You're funny, smart, hardworking. Any family should be proud to have someone like you. Emma's heart skipped a beat. You barely know me. How can you say that? Nathan gave her a quick glance before looking back at the road. I know you better than you think. Before Emma could ask what that meant, they pulled up in front of a large, brightly lit house in the suburbs. Cars filled the driveway. Voices and laughter came from inside. We're here, Nathan said, turning off the engine. Emma looked at the house, then at Nathan. Last chance to run. He smiled and squeezed her hand. Not a chance. I wouldn't miss this show for anything. They got out of the car together. Nathan held her hand as they walked to the door, and Emma realized that, for the first time in days, she wasn't nervous anymore. Nathan was right beside her, and somehow, that made everything feel possible. Emma rang the doorbell, and seconds later the door opened, revealing her mother, Linda, wearing an apron covered in flour and a huge smile. Emma, you're here. Then her eyes went to Nathan and widened, And you must be. Nathan, he handed her the bouquet. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Linda. Emma talks about you all the time. Emma's mother melted instantly. Oh, how polite, and you brought flowers. George, come meet Emma's boyfriend. Nathan winked at Emma behind her mother's back, and Emma had to bite her lip to stop herself from laughing. This was going to be an interesting night. George Carter appeared in the hallway, drying his hands on a kitchen towel. He was a tall man with broad shoulders, gray hair, and a naturally serious expression that intimidated anyone. So you're Nathan, he said, crossing his arms and looking Nathan up and down. Nathan didn't show any nervousness. He extended his hand with a confident smile. Mr. Carter, it's an honor to finally meet you. George shook his hand firmly, clearly testing him. Nathan didn't pull back. Strong handshake. That's good. A man needs a firm grip. Emma rolled her eyes. Dad, stop it. You're not interviewing anyone. Of course I am. This young man is dating my daughter. I need to know if he's any good. George, Linda smacked her husband's arm. Let them come in before you start interrogating him. They walked into the warm house filled with delicious smells. The Christmas tree twinkled in the corner, gifts stacked beneath it. Voices drifted from the dining room. Your sister and Brandon are already here, Linda said, taking the bouquet to the kitchen. Tyler and Melissa too. And your Aunt Diane is helping with the food. Emma's stomach tightened. Aunt Diane, this wasn't going to be easy. Let's introduce everyone, Nathan said softly, squeezing her hand. They stepped into the dining room where everyone was gathered. Catherine, flawless in an emerald green dress, sat beside Brandon, who wore a full suit. Tyler, Emma's younger brother, was laughing at something Melissa said. Everyone stopped and looked at the doorway when Emma and Nathan walked in. Everyone, this is Nathan, Emma announced, trying to sound casual. My boyfriend. Catherine choked on her wine. Tyler's eyes widened. Brandon simply nodded politely. Boyfriend? Catherine repeated, regaining her composure. Since when? 6 months, Nathan answered before Emma could speak. He wrapped his arm around her shoulders naturally. I met this amazing woman at the cafe where she works and couldn't resist. Linda sighed dreamily from the kitchen. How adorable. Catherine narrowed her eyes, clearly suspicious. Funny, Emma never mentioned you. Because I wanted to be sure before introducing him to the family, Emma said quickly. You know how it is. I brought people here before and it didn't work out. That's true, Tyler agreed, standing to shake Nathan's hand. Nice to meet you, man. I'm Tyler, the brother. Nathan, nice to meet you. Melissa waved shyly. Hi, I'm Melissa. It's my first time here too, so we're in the same boat. Emma gave her a grateful smile. At least Melissa seemed nice. Emma? A sharp voice called from the kitchen. Come help me here. Emma made a face. Aunt Diane. I'll be right back. She murmured to Nathan. I'll be fine, he assured her, winking. Emma walked into the kitchen where Aunt Diane was pulling a huge turkey out of the oven. She was in her mid-50s, with bleached blonde hair and a love for gossip that no one could match. So, Diane said the second Emma stepped in. That handsome young man is your boyfriend? Yes. Where did he come from? Because I've never heard you mention anyone. We met a few months ago. I didn't want to get my hopes up. Diane put the roasting pan down and turned around with her hands on her hips. Emma Carter, you are hiding something from me. I've known you since the day you were born. I know when you're lying. Emma's heart raced. I'm not lying. Then tell me everything about him. Full name, job, family. Nathan Miller. High school teacher. His family lives outside Boston. Diane narrowed her eyes. A teacher? With that car you two arrived in? Emma had forgotten about the cursed car. Family inheritance, she improvised. His parents have money. Diane didn't seem convinced, but she turned her attention back to the turkey. Well, he's handsome and polite. That's already more than that last boy you brought. What was his name again? Daniel? The one who only talked about video games. Derek. And it was just one date. He wasn't even a boyfriend. Exactly. This Nathan seems better. Don't let him get away. Emma went back to the dining room and almost laughed at what she found. Nathan was sitting between George and Brandon, the three of them talking about football like old friends. I'm telling you, the Patriots got lucky in that game, Nathan was saying. Their defense was weak in the second half. Finally, someone who gets it, George slapped the table. I said the same thing. Brandon adjusted his glasses, clearly unhappy about not being the center of attention anymore. Well, statistically speaking, Brandon loves statistics, Catherine cut in with a strained smile. He's so smart. Emma sat beside Nathan, who immediately took her hand under the table. The touch was comforting. So, Nathan, Catherine began with that sugary tone Emma knew all too well. Being a high school teacher must be fulfilling, but what about the salary? It must be hard with today's prices. Emma felt Nathan tense, but he kept smiling. Teaching isn't about money. It's about making a difference in young people's lives. How noble, Catherine said, though her tone implied the opposite. Brandon is a corporate lawyer. He just closed a $5 million deal. 6.5, actually, Brandon corrected, puffing up his chest. Emma wanted to crawl under the table. That's impressive, Nathan said politely, but I bet you don't get the satisfaction of seeing a student finally understand algebra after weeks of trying. That's priceless. George let out a laugh. I like this boy. He has values. Catherine turned red. Brandon looked confused, and Emma had to bite the inside of her cheek to keep from laughing. Linda appeared carrying trays of food. Dinner is served, everyone to the table. The next few minutes were organized chaos, with dishes being passed around, glasses being filled, and conversations overlapping. Emma was amazed at how naturally Nathan fit in. He complimented Linda's cooking, laughed at Uncle Charles's bad jokes after he arrived late, and even managed to make Grandma Ruth smile. Emma, dear? Grandma Ruth called from the other end of the table. She was in her late 80s, with completely white hair and sharp eyes. This young man is a treasure. Are you going to marry him? Emma choked on her water. Grandma. What? I'm old. I can ask these things. Nathan, do you intend to marry my granddaughter? Nathan didn't lose his composure. He looked at Emma with a gentle smile. If she ever accepts me, I'll be the luckiest man in the world. The entire table went silent. Linda's eyes filled with tears. George nodded approvingly. Even Catherine seemed speechless. Emma felt her face burn. This was acting. It had to be acting. But the way Nathan looked at her felt so real. Oh my goodness, Linda sniffled. George, did you hear that? He wants to marry our Emma. Mom, nobody said anything about marriage. Emma tried to control the damage. We've only been together 6 months. Your father proposed to me after 3, Linda countered. When you know, you know. Aunt Diane leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Nathan, tell me, how did you ask Emma to be your girlfriend? It must have been romantic. Nathan calmly picked up a piece of turkey. Actually, she made the first move. Emma's eyes widened. What was he doing? She did? Diane was delighted. How? She wrote her number on the coffee cup she handed me, with a little heart drawn on it. Total lie. But everyone at the table sighed dreamily. Emma, how bold. Linda looked thrilled. I had no idea you had it in you. That's because she never does things like that, Catherine muttered quietly, but loud enough for Emma to hear. Nathan heard it too. He turned to Catherine with a polite but firm smile. Emma is one of the bravest people I know. She works 3 jobs, pays all her bills on her own, and still finds time to be kind to everyone. That's more courage than most people have. The silence that followed was absolute. Catherine went pale. Brandon stared at his plate. George looked at Nathan with new respect. And Emma felt something inside her chest she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe that night wasn't only about fooling her family. Maybe it was about discovering that someone actually saw her, actually understood her. Even if that someone had been hired for $5. Dinner continued with lighter conversations. Linda wouldn't stop serving food to Nathan, insisting he eat more. George told embarrassing stories from Emma's childhood, and Tyler teased his sister the same way he always had. Remember when Emma was 7 and decided she wanted to be a ballerina? Tyler said, laughing. She fell off the stage at her first recital. I didn't fall. I tripped on the tutu of the girl in front of me. You flew 3 feet and landed on top of the music teacher. Nathan laughed with everyone, and Emma couldn't even be mad because he held her hand under the table, his thumb tracing comforting circles in her palm. I'm sure it was graceful, Nathan said with a smile. It was ridiculous, Emma corrected. My mom pulled me out of ballet and put me in soccer. And you hated it, Linda added, laughing. I hated it. I spent every game picking flowers on the field. Even Catherine laughed at that. After dinner, while Linda and Aunt Diane cleaned the kitchen and refused help, everyone gathered in the living room. George turned on the TV to watch the football game, but the volume stayed low as they talked. "So, Nathan," Uncle Charles began, settling into the armchair. "Emma said you're a teacher. What subject do you teach?" Emma froze. They hadn't planned that detail. "History," Nathan answered without hesitation. "Mostly American history. Students think it's boring at first, but once you show how the past connects to the present, they get interested." "Fascinating," Charles said. "I always liked history." "Then you're going to love the real story of how Nathan and I met." Emma jumped in quickly, feeling the need to help before more difficult questions came. Nathan looked at her curiously. "Oh yeah? What's the true version?" "The version where I not only spilled coffee on you, but also tripped and fell on top of you in front of all the customers. You had to catch me so I wouldn't hit the floor." Nathan laughed, playing along. "True. It was the most dramatic fall I've ever seen. Lots of style, very little coordination." "Hey, I have coordination." "Of course you do, sweetheart," he said in that tone that clearly suggested the opposite. Tyler almost spit out his drink laughing. "That is so Emma. Remember when she fell out of the tree trying to rescue the neighbor's cat?" "The cat climbed down by itself while I was stuck up there for 2 hours," Emma admitted. "And when she tried roller skates and broke Grandma's vase?" "Tyler, stop." Emma threw a pillow at him. Nathan pulled her closer, putting his arm around her shoulders. "I think all of this is adorable. You all have so many stories together." Grandma Ruth, who had been quiet until then, studied Nathan carefully. "Young man, you look familiar. Have we met before?" Emma felt Nathan tense beside her. "I don't think so, ma'am, but they say I have a common face." "No, that's not it." Ruth narrowed her eyes. "I never forget a face. You remind me of someone." "Maybe she's seen him at a school event, Grandma," Emma jumped in quickly. "If he's a teacher, that could be it." "Maybe," Ruth muttered, but she kept staring at Nathan thoughtfully. Catherine, who had been quiet since Nathan's comment during dinner, finally spoke. "Nathan, where exactly do you live? Which part of Boston?" "Back Bay." Emma's eyes widened. Back Bay was one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Boston. Teachers definitely didn't live there. Catherine thought the same. "Back Bay? On a teacher's salary?" "I share an apartment with 2 roommates," Nathan said calmly. "Makes it more affordable." "It must still be expensive," Catherine insisted. "Catherine," George warned, "stop interrogating the boy." "I'm just asking normal questions, Dad." "You're being rude. Leave Nathan alone." Catherine shut her mouth, but Emma could tell she wasn't convinced. Brandon, sensing the tension, tried to change the subject. "Anybody want dessert?" Linda made apple pie. Everyone got up to head to the kitchen. Emma used the moment to pull Nathan into the hallway. "Sorry about Catherine," she whispered. "She's always like that." "It's okay, I expected it. But she's suspicious, and that Back Bay thing didn't help." "Emma, relax." Nathan cupped her face gently with both hands. "Everything is going fine." "Is it? Because it feels like we're 2 seconds away from someone finding out everything." "No one is going to find out. Trust me." Emma was about to answer when she heard footsteps. She and Nathan stepped apart quickly, but Aunt Diane was already there with a mischievous smile. "Sorry to interrupt, I just came to get more napkins." She walked past them, but before turning the corner, she looked back. "You two make a beautiful couple. Don't let this one get away, Emma." When Diane left, Emma leaned against the wall. "This is getting way too real." "Maybe it's because it feels real," Nathan said softly. Emma looked at him, her heart beating fast. "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, Tyler appeared. "Hey, lovebirds, the pie is waiting." They went back to the living room where Linda was serving generous slices of apple pie with ice cream. Emma ate mechanically, still thinking about what Nathan had said. "So," Linda began, looking at Nathan with that gleam in her eyes. Emma knew very well. "Are you two spending New Year's together?" Emma almost choked. "Mom, New Year's is days away." "I know, I'm just curious. You two are such a cute couple." "We haven't planned anything yet," Nathan said, saving Emma from answering. "You should. Oh, George, remember that New Year's we spent in Times Square? Freezing, but so romantic." George grumbled something about "never again," and turned his attention back to the football game. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of conversations, laughter, and more food. Emma realized she was actually having a good time. Nathan fit in perfectly. making everyone laugh, helping to clear dishes without being asked, even playing cards with Tyler and Grandma Ruth. By 10 o'clock, Emma yawned. "I think we need to head out. I have to work early tomorrow." "The day after Christmas?" Linda complained. "That's ridiculous. Bills don't take holidays, Mom." Everyone stood up to say goodbye. Linda hugged Nathan for an embarrassingly long time. George shook his hand with approval, and even Catherine muttered a "nice meeting you" that sounded somewhat sincere. When they finally reached the car, Emma let out all the air she'd been holding. "We survived." "We survived," Nathan agreed, starting the engine. "And it went really well, by the way." "You were perfect. Better than I imagined." "You were great, too." They drove in silence for a few minutes. Boston's streets were quiet, Christmas lights still glowing in the windows of the houses. "Nathan," Emma began hesitantly, "what you said earlier, about it feeling real." He kept his eyes on the road. "I said that?" "You did, in the hallway." "Oh. What did you mean?" Nathan stayed silent for so long that Emma thought he wouldn't answer. Then he stopped at a red light and looked at her. "Emma, I need to tell you something." His tone made Emma's stomach twist. "What?" "We already knew each other, before the park, before all of this." Emma blinked. "What? When?" 5 years ago. You worked at the same cafe. I used to go there every day." Emma's mind raced. 5 years ago, she had been 22, just starting at the cafe. "I don't remember you." "I know. I was different. Thinner, glasses, longer hair, and my name wasn't Nathan back then." "So what's your real name?" Nathan hesitated, his fingers tightening on the wheel. "Ethan. Ethan Cole." Emma felt like she had been punched. Ethan Cole. That name pulled an old, buried memory to the surface. The shy guy who went to the cafe every day, who always ordered the same cappuccino, who once tried to ask her out and she said no because she was focused on working and studying. "Ethan?" she whispered. "You're Ethan?" "I am." "But you look so different." 5 years changes a person. Emma looked at him, really looked at him. The eyes were the same. The smile, when it was genuine, was the same. How had she not seen it? "Why didn't you tell me? Why pretend to be someone else?" The light turned green. Nathan started driving again, his jaw tight. "Because I wanted to see if you would remember me. And when you didn't, I didn't know how to tell you." "So this whole thing was what? Revenge?" "No, Emma, it wasn't anything like that." He pulled over in front of her building. "It was complicated." Emma felt tears burn her eyes. Anger, confusion, hurt, all mixed together. "You lied to me?" "Emma, I need to go." She got out of the car and ran to the building without looking back, even as she heard Nathan call her name. When she reached her apartment, she locked the door and slid down to the floor, tears finally falling. Ethan Cole. The boy she had rejected 5 years earlier had just turned her world upside down. The next morning, Emma woke up with swollen eyes and a pounding head. Her phone had 17 unread messages. 14 were from Nathan, or Ethan, or whatever his name was. She deleted them all without reading. The other 3 were from Jessica. "Oh my God, Emma, call me." "Are you okay? Your mom called me saying the dinner was perfect. Answer me." Emma typed a quick reply. "I'm alive. Tell you later." Then she tossed the phone on the couch and went to take a shower. Work at the cafe was torture. Every time the doorbell rang, Emma looked up expecting to see Ethan walk in, but he never did. "Are you okay?" Mr. Williams asked for the 3rd time. "You look like you didn't sleep." "I didn't sleep much," Emma admitted, wiping the counter for the 10th time. "Trouble with the boyfriend?" Emma let out a bitter laugh. "Something like that." "Want some old man advice?" "Please." "Men are idiots, but some idiots are worth listening to before you throw them away." Emma was about to answer when the door opened and Jessica stormed in like a hurricane. "Okay, coffee break. We need to talk. Now." Mr. Williams motioned for Emma to go. "Go on. You're too distracted to work properly anyway." Emma took off her apron and followed Jessica to a table in the corner. "Tell me everything. Why do you look like you cried all night?" Emma told her everything. Ethan's revelation, the rejection from 5 years ago, the feeling of being deceived. Jessica stayed quiet for a long moment after Emma finished. "So, let me see if I got this right. The guy you rejected 5 years ago came back, helped you with your family dinner, was perfect with your parents, defended you from your annoying sister, and then confessed everything because he felt guilty for not telling you earlier?" "Basically." "And you're mad because?" Emma blinked. "Because he lied. He pretended to be someone else. He used a different name. Technically, Nathan is his middle name, right? I don't know. I didn't ask. Emma. Jessica held her friend's hands. Don't you think you're being a tiny bit dramatic? Dramatic? He deceived me. Or maybe he just wanted a second chance without the weight of the past. Jessica leaned forward. Think about it. If he had approached you at the park and said, "Hi, I'm Ethan, the guy you rejected 5 years ago. Want me to be your fake boyfriend?" Would you have said yes? Emma opened her mouth to answer, then closed it. Jessica was right. No, she admitted reluctantly. Exactly. So maybe he just wanted the chance to get to know you again. As the person he is now, not who he was then. But it's still wrong. It is, but it's also kind of romantic if you think about it. Emma threw a napkin at Jessica. You're supposed to be on my side. I am on your side, that's why I'm telling you to stop being stubborn and at least hear what he has to say. Emma crossed her arms, sulking. I don't want to hear it. Of course you do. That's why you're so upset. If you didn't care, you'd already have forgotten. Before Emma could answer, her phone rang. Unknown number. Don't answer, Jessica warned. It's probably him calling from another number. Emma answered on instinct. Hello, Emma, sweetheart, it was her mother's voice. I just called to say we love Nathan. He's perfect for you. Emma closed her eyes. Of course, her mother. Mom, about that? Your father won't stop talking about how polite he is and how he has values. And the flowers, what a gentleman. When are you two coming over for dinner again? Mom, listen. And Diane called me this morning saying you two are the cutest couple she's ever seen. Even Catherine admitted he seems nice, though she'd never say it openly. Mom. Linda finally stopped talking. What is it, sweetheart? Emma looked at Jessica, who was making encouraging hand gestures. Nothing, just, I'm glad you all liked him. We loved him. Oh, I forgot to give you your Christmas present yesterday. You left so fast. Can I bring it to your apartment today? No, I mean you don't need to. I'll pick it up later. Are you sure? It's no trouble. I'm sure, Mom. I'm at work. All right, sweetheart. Kisses. And bring Nathan for dinner again soon. Emma hung up and dropped her head onto the table. My family loves him. Perfect. Just perfect. So you're going to have to fix this. Jessica said with annoyingly perfect logic. Either you tell your family the truth, or you make up with Ethan. Neither option sounds good. Welcome to adult life. Emma spent the rest of the day on autopilot. She served coffee, cleaned tables, smiled at customers, but her mind was somewhere else. Ethan Cole. She forced her memory back 5 years. The skinny guy with glasses who always ordered cappuccino. Quiet, shy, always with a book. Emma vaguely remembered him trying to make small talk a few times, and then one day he asked her out. Emma, I know this is unexpected, but would you like to have dinner with me sometime? She had been 22, working 2 jobs and trying to pay for college. Romance was the last thing on her mind. Sorry, Ethan, I'm really focused on work and studying right now. I don't have time for dating. He had smiled, trying to hide the disappointment. That's okay, I understand. And then he stopped coming to the cafe. Emma didn't even notice until weeks later. Now, looking back, she felt bad. Not about the rejection itself, but about how casually she had dismissed his feelings. When her shift finally ended, Emma dragged herself home. When she reached the building, she almost had a heart attack. Ethan was sitting on the front steps, still wearing the clothes from the day before, looking like he hadn't slept. Emma? He stood up fast. Please, just give me 5 minutes. Ethan. Nathan is my middle name. Ethan Nathan Cole. I didn't lie about that. Emma sighed. You stayed out here all night? No, I went home around 3 in the morning. Came back at 6. It's 7 now. You've been here for an hour? 1 hour and 15 minutes, but who's counting? He tried to smile, but he just looked tired. Emma, please, let me explain. Emma looked around. Some neighbors were watching curiously. She didn't want to make a scene. 5 minutes, upstairs. They went up in silence. Emma unlocked the door and walked in, tossing her bag on the couch. Go ahead. Ethan stayed near the door, hands in his pockets. 5 years ago, when you turned me down, I wasn't angry. You were right. I had nothing to offer. I was a broke student with no clear future. Ethan, let me finish, please. He took a deep breath. That pushed me. I graduated, worked hard, built a career, and through all that time, I never forgot you. Emma felt her chest tighten. When I saw you in that park yelling about needing a boyfriend, it felt like a second chance falling from the sky. But I knew that if I told you who I was, you wouldn't accept. So I let you think I was someone else. You lied. I lied by omission. And it was wrong, I know that. He stepped forward. But Emma, everything I felt, everything I said these days was real. The way I look at you, the way I feel when I'm near you, all of that is true. Emma felt tears burn her eyes again. How am I supposed to trust you now? You can't. Not yet. Ethan took a wallet from his pocket and set it on the coffee table. But this is the whole truth about who I am. My identity, my work, where I live, everything. Emma picked up the wallet and opened it. His driver's license said Ethan Nathan Cole. Address in Back Bay. Then she saw a business card. CEO, she read out loud. Cole Technologies? It's my company, educational technology, programs for public schools. Emma stared at him, shocked. You're a CEO? And you let me believe you were a teacher? Technically, I develop programs for teachers. It kind of counts. Emma didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so she did both, a wet laugh slipping out between tears. You're impossible. I know. Ethan stepped closer. Emma, I should have told you from the start. It was cowardly not to. But I didn't lie about my feelings. I really want to get to know you. For real this time. Emma wiped her tears. $5. What? You agreed to be my fake boyfriend for $5 even though you're a billionaire. Millionaire. Haven't reached $1 billion yet. He smiled softly. And I would have done it for free. Emma shook her head, but she was smiling too. You're crazy. Crazy about you, apparently. That was terrible. I know. Sorry. They stood there looking at each other, the tension slowly fading. Ethan, Emma said at last, I need time to process all this. I understand. But, she hesitated, maybe we can start over? The right way this time? Ethan's face lit up. Really? If you ask me out for an actual coffee and tell me everything about you, no lies, no omissions, I can do that. He held out his hand. Hi, I'm Ethan Cole. Nice to meet you. Emma shook his hand, smiling. Emma Carter. Nice to meet you too. The next day, Emma woke up to a message from Ethan. Good morning. Coffee at 3? I promised to tell you everything. No secrets this time. Emma smiled at her phone. She typed back, 3 is fine, but I picked the place. Fair. Where? That small cafe on Newberry Street, the one with the best brownies in the city. Perfect. See you there. Emma spent the whole day nervous. She changed clothes 3 times before choosing jeans and a simple blue sweater. Nothing too fancy but not sloppy either. Jessica called in the middle of the afternoon. So, did you two make up? Sort of. We're getting coffee today to really talk. How mature of both of you. I'm proud. Jess, what if it's weird? What if we have nothing to talk about without that whole fake boyfriend story? Then you'll find out you're not compatible and move on. But something tells me that's not what's going to happen. Emma arrived at the cafe 5 minutes early. Ethan was already there, sitting at a table by the window, checking his phone. When he saw her, his face lit up. Hi. Hi. Emma sat down across from him, suddenly shy. You got here early. I was excited. He put his phone away. I ordered a brownie for us to share. You said they were the best in the city. I had to check. Believe me, they are. A waitress brought 2 coffees and a huge brownie on a plate. Emma picked up a fork and cut a piece. Okay then. Tell me everything. Full version, no edits. Ethan took a deep breath. All right, I was born here in Boston. Middle-class family. My father was an accountant, my mother a teacher. I studied a lot, got a scholarship to MIT and graduated in computer science. MIT? Impressive. It was hard. I worked part-time and studied the rest of the time. I barely had a social life. He gave a small smile. That's why the cafe where you worked was my only luxury. 1 cappuccino every day. Emma felt a sting of guilt remembering how she barely paid attention to him back then. And after college? I worked for a tech company for 2 years. Saved everything I could. Then I had an idea for an educational program that would help public schools. I quit, invested all my savings, and founded Cole Technologies. And it worked? It took 3 years to really take off. We almost went bankrupt twice, but then we got a big contract with the Boston School District and things started to get better. Emma took another bite of brownie, fascinated. How many employees do you have? 120. Office in Back Bay, another in San Francisco. Wow. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it when I see schools using our programs and students actually learning. Emma looked at him with new eyes. He wasn't the shy boy from 5 years ago anymore. He was a successful, confident man who had completely transformed his life. "So why did you agree to be my fake boyfriend for $5? Ethan laughed. "Honestly, when I saw you on that bench yelling about needing to rent a boyfriend, it was so you. Dramatic, funny, desperate, in an adorable way." "Hey, I'm not dramatic. Emma, you were yelling at the sky asking for help finding a rented boyfriend. Okay, fair." She laughed too. "But you could have told me who you were." "I know, and I regret not doing that." He leaned forward. "But Emma, I wanted you to get to know me as the person I am now, not the boring guy you turned down." "You weren't boring." "I was. Shy, quiet, no courage to talk properly." "You were cute," Emma said, surprising herself by realizing she meant it. "I was just too busy trying to survive back then to notice." "And now?" Emma paused. "Now I want to get to know you for real. The real Ethan." They spent the next hour talking. Ethan told funny stories about people at his company. Emma told him about her 3 jobs and the crazy customers at the cafe. "There was a guy last week who ordered coffee with almond milk but without almonds." I was like, "Sir, that is literally impossible." Ethan laughed so hard people at other tables looked over. "And what did you do?" "I gave him regular milk and he didn't notice the difference." "You're terrible." "I know." Emma smiled. "But sometimes it's the only way to stay sane." Ethan's phone rang. He looked at the screen and made a face. "Sorry, I need to answer this. It's from the office." "No problem." Ethan stepped away to take the call, and Emma used the moment to send a quick message to Jessica. "It's going well. He's really nice." The reply came instantly. "I told you, now kiss that man already." Emma laughed and put her phone away as Ethan returned. "Everything okay?" "Small crisis at the office. Nothing that can't wait until tomorrow." He sat back down. "Sorry for the interruption." "No need to apologize. You have a company to run. And you have 3 jobs. Speaking of that." Ethan hesitated. "Can I ask you something without you getting upset?" "That depends on the question." "Why do you work in 3 places? Isn't it too much?" Emma stirred her coffee, avoiding his eyes. "Because I have to. The bills don't stop coming." "But you don't get help from your family?" "My parents have their own expenses. Catherine makes good money but barely talks to me. Tyler is just starting out." Emma shrugged. "I manage." "Emma, you shouldn't have to handle everything alone. That's life. Some people are born lucky. Others have to work harder." Ethan stayed quiet for a moment. "What if I offered you a job?" Emma's eyes widened. "What?" "At my company. I need someone to manage communication with schools. You're great with people. Organized, hardworking. You'd be perfect." "Ethan, before you say no, let me finish. Fixed salary, benefits, normal hours. You could quit your 3 jobs and have a real life." Emma shook her head. "I can't accept." "Why?" "Because it feels like, I don't know, like you're doing charity." "It's not charity. It's a real job offer. I really need someone in that position." "Then hire someone else, someone qualified." "You are qualified. You've worked with the public for years. You know how to deal with difficult people. You're organized and dedicated." Ethan took her hand on the table. "Emma, this isn't pity. It's recognition." Emma felt tears threatening to appear. "I need to think. As much time as you need. No pressure." They finished their coffee in a more comfortable silence. When they left, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. "Can I drive you home?" Ethan offered. "You can." In the car, Emma looked out the window, processing everything. A real job, fixed salary, normal life. It sounded too good to be true. "Ethan," she said when they stopped in front of her building, "thank you. For everything. For the coffee, for the talk, for the offer." "Are you going to think about the job?" "I am." And, he hesitated. "Are you going to think about us? About giving this a real chance?" Emma looked at him. At those eyes she now recognized, at the smile that gave her butterflies in her stomach. "I'll think about that too." Ethan smiled. "That's all I can ask for." Emma got out of the car, but before closing the door she leaned back in. "Ethan?" "Yes?" "That brownie really was the best in the city." He laughed. "You were right." Emma walked into the building with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. Maybe second chances really did exist. Maybe it wasn't too late to start over. The next morning, Emma was at the cafe serving the first customer of the day when Jessica walked in with a huge smile on her face. Okay, based on your silly smile and the messages last night, I need full details. Now. Emma looked around. The cafe was empty except for Mr. Williams in the kitchen. He offered me a job. Jessica almost dropped her bag. He did what? A real job, at his company, communications manager with schools, fixed salary, benefits, normal hours. Emma, that's amazing. Or it's charity in disguise. Jessica rolled her eyes. You and your ridiculous pride. The man is offering you a real opportunity. But what if it's just because he likes me? What if I'm not really qualified? You work 3 jobs at the same time without losing your mind. If that's not qualification, I don't know what is. Emma bit her lip. I'm scared, Jess. Of what? Of this going wrong. The job, the relationship, everything. And then I'll have lost not only a boyfriend, but also a job. Jessica held her friend's shoulders. Or it could go really well and you'll finally have the life you deserve. But you'll never know if you don't try. Before Emma could answer, the cafe phone rang. Mr. Williams answered in the kitchen. Emma, it's for you. Emma frowned. No one ever called her at work. Hello? Emma, sweetheart. It was her mother. Guess what? Mom, I'm working. Aunt Diane is organizing a New Year's Eve dinner and she wants you to bring Nathan. Isn't that wonderful? Emma closed her eyes. Of course. The New Year's Eve dinner. Mom, about that. And your Grandma Ruth is insisting on getting to know him better. She said she's sure she's seen him somewhere before. Isn't that curious? Very curious, Mom. But listen. So can I confirm? You and Nathan will be there? Emma looked at Jessica, who was making encouraging gestures. I'll ask him and let you know. Perfect. Oh, and Emma, your father wants to invite Nathan to watch a game with him. I think you finally found one the family approves of. When Emma hung up, Jessica was laughing. Let me guess. Another family event? New Year's Eve dinner, with the whole family, again. Then you'll have to decide soon. Either he's really your boyfriend, or you tell your family the truth. Emma groaned. My life was so much simpler when all I worried about was paying the bills. The day went by quickly between work at the cafe, rushing to a restaurant shift, and then to the night cleaning job. When she finally got home at 11 at night, Emma was exhausted. She dropped onto the couch and grabbed her phone. 3 messages from Ethan. Good morning. Have you thought about my offer? No pressure, but it would be great to work with you. Good night. I hope you're having a good day. Emma smiled in spite of her tiredness. She typed back, just got home. Long day. Are you still awake? The reply came immediately. Always. Want to talk? Call or text? Text is fine. I imagine you're tired. Emma settled more comfortably on the couch. My mom called today. She wants us to go to the New Year's Eve dinner. Is that good or bad? Then I don't know yet. Ethan, what are we exactly? There was a pause before the reply. What do you want us to be? Emma thought carefully before typing. I like you. A lot. But I'm scared. Of what? Of getting hurt. Of falling in love and then finding out it was all an illusion. Emma, look at me. Wait, you can't look at me through text. But imagine you're looking. Emma laughed despite her nerves. Imagining. This isn't an illusion. What I feel is real. Yes, it started in a crazy way. But now I just want the chance to make you happy. Emma felt tears in her eyes. You're too good to be true. Or maybe you finally deserve something good. Emma wiped her tears and made a decision. Okay. Okay, what? Okay to everything. The job, the relationship, the New Year's Eve dinner with my crazy family. Really? Really. But there are conditions. Go ahead. First, at work, you're my boss and I'm your employee. Total professionalism. Agreed. Second, we go slow. No rushing. We get to know each other for real. Perfect. Third, you need to meet Jessica officially, as my real boyfriend, not as the fake one. When? How about tomorrow? Dinner with her and her boyfriend? I have a meeting until 7. Does 8 work? It works. Emma could practically feel Ethan smiling through the messages. Emma Carter, officially, would you like to be my girlfriend? Emma laughed, her heart beating fast. Ethan Cole, officially I accept. Best day of my life. You're silly. You're silly guy now. Even sillier. They kept texting until Emma started drifting off on the couch. The last thing she saw before falling asleep was a message from Ethan. Sleep well, girlfriend. See you tomorrow. The next morning, Emma woke up with renewed energy. For the first time in years, she had real hope that things could get better. At the cafe, she told everything to Mr. Williams. So you're quitting the 3 jobs? He asked, sounding sad. Only when the new job officially starts. Healy, I won't leave you hanging. You're a good girl, Emma. You deserve this chance. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for everything. The workday flew by. Emma was so excited that even the annoying customers couldn't bother her. At 8 that night, Emma was sitting in the Italian restaurant with Jessica and her boyfriend, Tom, waiting for Ethan to arrive. I'm nervous, Emma admitted. Why? We already know him, Jessica said. Yes, but now it's official. It's real. And that's good. Tom, a tall, quiet guy who worked in programming, looked toward the door. Is that him? Emma turned and saw Ethan walking in. He was wearing jeans and a button-up shirt, looking relaxed and confident. When he saw her, his face lit up. Hi, he said, kissing the top of her head before sitting down. Sorry I'm late. The meeting took longer than expected. No problem. This is Tom, Jessica's boyfriend. Tom, this is Ethan. The two men shook hands. Nice to meet you. Jessica told me a lot about you. Only good things, I hope, Ethan said with a smile. Mostly warnings about what happens if you hurt Emma, Tom replied seriously, though there was a playful spark in his eyes. Ethan laughed. Fair. Dinner was surprisingly easy. Ethan and Tom discovered they both liked programming and started an animated conversation about technology. Jessica nudged Emma under the table. He's perfect, she whispered. I know, Emma whispered back, smiling. When the night ended and they said goodbye to Jessica and Tom, Ethan held Emma's hand as they walked to his car. Your friends are nice. They liked you too. Really? Jessica sent me 3 messages during dinner telling me not to ruin this. Ethan laughed and stopped walking, turning Emma to face him. Emma, I promise to do everything I can to make this work. I promise too. They stood there for a moment, looking at each other under the streetlights, and Emma knew with absolute certainty that she had made the right choice. The next morning, Emma was packing her things to take to Ethan's office when her phone rang. It was Catherine. Emma almost dropped the phone from shock. Her sister never called. Never. Catherine, is everything okay? Hi, Emma. Her voice sounded strangely friendly. I have a quick question. Go ahead. That boyfriend of yours, Nathan or Ethan or whatever name he uses, is he Ethan Cole from Cole Technologies? Emma sat down on the bed. How did you find out? Brandon showed me an article in a business magazine, Boston's most promising young CEO. The picture looks exactly like your boyfriend. Emma didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's him. There was silence on the other end. Emma, you're dating a millionaire and didn't tell anyone. It's complicated. Complicated how? Are you two together or not? We are. But it wasn't always like that. The story is long. Catherine let out a laugh that sounded genuinely impressed. My little sister landed a billionaire CEO. Who would have thought? Millionaire. He's not a billionaire yet. Still, Emma, I know I'm not the best sister in the world, but I'm happy for you. Truly. Emma felt tears in her eyes. Really? Really, you deserve something good. And by the way, he was looking at you at the Christmas dinner. The guy is completely in love. Thank you, Catherine. That means a lot. Just don't ruin everything by being too stubborn, okay? Emma laughed. I'll try. After they hung up, Emma finished getting her things together and took an Uber to the Cole Technologies office in Back Bay. The building was impressive, all glass and steel, with the company logo shining on the front. At the reception desk, a blonde, elegant woman smiled at her. You must be Emma Carter. Mr. Cole is expecting you. 12th floor, last door on the right. Emma stepped into the elevator with her stomach tight with nerves. When the doors opened on the 12th floor, she almost choked. The office was huge, modern, with glass walls and a view of all of Boston. Employees worked at organized workstations, some wearing headphones, others in meetings inside glass rooms. Emma! Ethan appeared from a room, smiling. He wore dress pants and a blue shirt with the sleeves rolled up. You made it! This place is incredible. Let me show you around. He took her hand and guided her through the office. That's the development team. Over there is marketing. And that big room is where we have the weekly meetings. They passed several employees who waved politely. Emma noticed everyone seemed genuinely happy to be there. Where's your office? At the end of the hallway. But first, come meet who you'll be working with. Ethan led her to a smaller room where a woman in her 40s, with curly hair and a bun, was on the phone. When she saw them, she quickly ended the call. Emma, this is Helen Rodriguez, our school projects coordinator. Helen, Emma Carter. Helen stood up with a warm smile. Finally, Ethan won't stop talking about you. Emma looked at Ethan, who was clearly blushing. He does? Every day. Emma is organized. Emma is dedicated. Emma will be perfect for the team. I was starting to think he made you up. Emma laughed. I'm definitely real. And even better in person. We're going to work very well together, I just know it. Helen picked up a folder. Let me show you what we do here. The next hour flew by in a whirlwind of information. Helen explained the programs they developed, the partner schools, the challenges they faced. Emma absorbed everything, asking questions, suggesting ideas. You're good at this, Helen said, impressed. I never thought about doing surveys with teachers before making changes. Well, they're the ones who understand students the most, right? Exactly. See, Ethan, I told you she was perfect. Ethan was leaning against the door, watching Emma with a smile that made her stomach flip. You were right, as always, Helen. After the tour, Ethan took Emma to his office. It was spacious but not flashy, with a large desk, bookshelves full of books, and that incredible Boston view. So, what do you think? Emma turned to him, her eyes shining. Ethan, I loved it. Everything. The people, the work, the energy of the place. So you officially accept? I do, but I need to give 2 weeks' notice at the other jobs. Of course, no problem. He stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her waist. I'm so happy you said yes. Me too. Emma rested her forehead against his. But it still feels like a dream, all of this. It's real, I promise. Someone knocked on the door. Ethan stepped back quickly, and Emma had to hold back a laugh. Sorry to interrupt, said a young man with glasses, but the meeting with the investors is in 5 minutes. Thank you, Peter. I'll be right there. When Peter left, Ethan made a face. Sorry, I completely forgot about that meeting. No problem, you have a company to run. Dinner tonight? To celebrate? I would love to, but I have a shift at the restaurant until 10. Then I'll meet you after? We can get ice cream even if it's winter. Emma laughed. You're crazy. Crazy about you. He stole a quick kiss. See you at 10:30? Deal. Emma left the office floating. She had a real job, an amazing boyfriend. For the first time in years, the future looked bright. During the next 2 weeks, Emma lived in a whirlwind. She gave notice at all 3 jobs. Mr. Williams almost cried when she told him. She spent her nights studying everything about educational technology. And she spent every free minute with Ethan. They went to the movies, and Ethan bought popcorn with extra butter just because Emma mentioned she liked it. They walked through the park, even with snow up to their knees. They cooked dinner together in his apartment, which was so big that Emma's apartment could fit inside it 3 times. Do you really live here alone? Emma asked, looking around. Yes, it's too big, I know, but I bought it when the company started growing and never moved. It must be lonely. Ethan pulled her close. Not anymore. Emma rested her head on his shoulder, feeling completely at peace. On New Year's Eve, Emma woke up nervous. Aunt Diane's dinner was that night, and it would be the first time she and Ethan went as a real couple, not as a pretend one. Are you worried about something? Ethan asked over the phone during lunch. What if someone asks about that story with the professor? Do we keep the lie or tell the truth? We tell the truth. No more lies. My family will freak out. Let them. I'll be right next to you. That night, when Ethan arrived to pick her up, Emma was wearing a gold dress she had bought especially for the occasion. His eyes widened. You look wow. Good wow or bad wow? The best wow possible. On the way to Aunt Diane's house, Ethan held Emma's hand. Ready to face your family again? With you? Always. The house was full when they arrived. Linda ran to hug Emma, then Ethan. George waved from the living room where he watched the game with Tyler. Catherine and Brandon were in the kitchen helping with the food. And then Aunt Diane appeared, her eyes shining with curiosity. Emma? Nathan? Or should I say Ethan? Emma froze. Diane knew. How did you? Dear, I saw the magazine article. That face is unmistakable. Diane looked at Ethan with approval. CEO of Cole Technologies. Impressive. Aunt Diane? Relax. I won't tell anyone yet, but you two should explain it to the family. No more lies, right? Emma looked at Ethan, who nodded encouragingly. Right? We'll tell them tonight. During dinner, when everyone was gathered at the table, Emma cleared her throat. Everyone, Ethan and I have something to tell you. Everyone stopped eating and looked at them. His name isn't Nathan. It's Ethan. Ethan Cole, and he's not a teacher. He's the CEO of Cole Technologies. The silence was complete. Then George started laughing. I knew it. I knew there was something different about him. Wait, Linda said, confused. Then why did you two lie? Emma took a deep breath and told the whole story. The $5 deal, the fake Christmas, the reveal, the real beginning. When she finished, she expected yelling. Instead, Grandma Ruth clapped her hands. Best love story I've ever heard. Much better than those silly TV movies. Catherine laughed too. Only you, Emma, only you could make something this crazy actually work. Linda had tears in her eyes. So you two are really together now? For real? Ethan took Emma's hand on the table. For real, and I promise to take care of her forever. Then it's fine, Linda said. What matters is that you love each other. Emma blinked. Love. They hadn't said that word yet, but when she looked at Ethan and saw the way he looked at her, she knew it was true. After dinner, when everyone gathered in the living room to wait for midnight, Emma and Ethan found a quiet moment alone on Aunt Diane's terrace. The view of the city was beautiful, with fireworks already starting to go off here and there, welcoming the new year early. Your family is wild, Ethan said, putting his arm around her shoulders. I warned you. But I like them, especially your grandmother. She's wonderful. Emma laughed, remembering how Grandma Ruth had pulled Ethan aside and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, You hold on tight to this one, girl. A good man like this doesn't show up every day. My grandmother has no filter at all. She's honest. I respect that. They stayed quiet for a moment, watching the city lights. Emma, Ethan said, turning her to face him, your mother said something today that stayed in my mind. What? About us loving each other. Emma's heart raced. Oh, that. And I kept thinking, she's right. Emma held her breath. She is? I love you, Emma. I think I've loved you since that day at the cafe 5 years ago, but I'm sure I love you now, completely. Tears filled Emma's eyes. Ethan, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Idiot, Emma said, smiling and crying at the same time. I love you too, so much that it scares me sometimes. Ethan pulled her in for a kiss that made the world disappear around them. When they pulled apart, fireworks were exploding in the sky. Midnight? Emma asked. We still have 10 minutes. Those are from the impatient neighbors. Emma laughed and rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Happy early New Year. Happy New Year, my love. In the months that followed, Emma's life changed completely. She started working at Cole Technologies and discovered she loved the job. Helen became not just a coworker, but a friend. The educational programs they developed truly made a difference, and Emma felt proud to be part of it. She and Ethan stayed professional at the office, but everyone knew they were a couple. And no one minded, because Emma did excellent work. Meeting in 5. Helen called out one day in March. Emma grabbed her notes and walked into the conference room. The whole team was there, including Ethan at the head of the table. Everyone, I have news, he began. We just partnered with 50 more schools in the state. It's our biggest contract so far. Everyone applauded. Emma felt her chest fill with pride. And that's thanks to the incredible work of the communications team, Ethan continued, looking directly at Emma. Especially Emma, who created the presentation that convinced the school board. Emma blushed when everyone turned to look at her. It was a team effort, she said modestly. It was pure talent, Helen corrected. Accept the compliment, girl. After the meeting, Ethan caught up with Emma in the hallway. Dinner out tonight? To celebrate? I can't. I promised Jessica I'd go to her place, girls' night. Tomorrow then? Tomorrow is perfect. But when Emma arrived at Jessica's house that night, she immediately noticed something was off. Jessica was nervous, rearranging pillows that were already perfectly arranged. Okay, what's going on? Emma asked, tossing her bag on the couch. Nothing. Why would anything be going on? Because you're acting strange. Jessica sighed and sat down. Tom is going to propose to me. Emma screamed so loudly that the neighbors probably heard. What? When? How do you know? I found the ring hidden in his drawer. By accident, I was just looking for socks. Jessica, that's amazing. I'm terrified. Why? You love him. I know, but what if I mess everything up? What if I say something wrong when he asks? Emma held her friend's shoulders. You're gonna say yes, because you two love each other, and it's gonna be perfect. Jessica took a deep breath. You're right. You're right. She looked at Emma. And what about you? When is Ethan going to propose to you? Emma blinked. Propose? We've only been together a few months. So what? When you know, you know. Emma shook her head, laughing. One thing at a time. Let's focus on your upcoming engagement. They spent the evening planning what Jessica would wear, how she would react, where it would happen. It was fun and exciting, and Emma went home with a warm heart. But Jessica's words stayed in her mind. Marriage. She and Ethan had never talked about it. The next morning, Emma woke up to a message from Ethan. Change of plans for tonight. Wear something nice. I'll pick you up at 7. Emma frowned. Ethan was being mysterious. She spent the day working, but her mind stayed on the secret dinner. When she got home, she chose a light pink dress and delicate sandals. Ethan arrived right at 7, wearing a suit and tie. You look beautiful. You're very dressed up. Where are we going? You'll see. They drove to an elegant restaurant overlooking the river. Emma had never been there before, but she knew it was extremely expensive. Ethan, this is too much. Nothing is too much for you. During dinner, they talked about everything. Work, family, future plans. Emma mentioned that Jessica would probably be getting married soon. Tom is a lucky guy, Ethan said. Jessica is the lucky one. He's wonderful. Have you ever thought about marriage? Ethan asked casually, but Emma noticed the tension in his shoulders. Sometimes, she said, playing with her napkin. And you? All the time. Emma looked at him, surprised. Really? Really? Ethan took her hand across the table. Emma, I know it hasn't been that long, but when you know, you know. Emma's heart started beating faster. Ethan? Wait. Let me talk. He took a deep breath. You changed my life completely. Before you, all I did was work. I had success, I had money, but I didn't have happiness. And then you showed up, yelling in the park about needing a boyfriend, and it felt like the universe gave me a second chance. Tears filled Emma's eyes. I wasn't planning to do this today. I had an elaborate plan for a few months from now. But I can't wait anymore. Ethan stood up and, to Emma's absolute shock, got down on one knee beside the table. The entire restaurant went silent. Emma Carter, will you marry me? Emma looked at him, at those eyes she knew so well now, at the nervous smile, at the ring he pulled from his pocket. You're crazy, she said, tears falling freely now. Crazy about you. I always have been. We've only really known each other for a few months. And I loved you for 5 years before that. Emma laughed and cried at the same time. My family is going to lose their minds. Let them. Jessica's going to say she knew it. She probably will. And I'll have to plan a wedding, and I have no idea how to do that. Emma, Ethan interrupted gently. Is that a yes? Emma looked at him. The man who had agreed to be her fake boyfriend for $5 and had become her true love. The man who defended her to her family. Who believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. Who loved her with everything he had. Yes, she said, smiling through her tears. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Ethan placed the ring on her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss while the entire restaurant applauded. When they pulled apart, Emma looked at the ring. It was perfect, simple, elegant, exactly what she would have chosen. How did you know I was going to say yes? She asked. I didn't, but I hoped. He kissed her forehead. I hoped a lot. They sat down again, but Emma could barely focus on the food. She was engaged. Engaged. Can we tell everyone now? She asked, already reaching for her phone. We can, but first, Ethan took the phone from her hand and set it aside. First, let's enjoy this moment. Just the two of us. Emma smiled and laced her fingers with his. Just the two of us. Outside, the city of Boston glowed with lights. Inside the restaurant, a new chapter was beginning for Emma and Ethan. 6 months later, Emma was in her parents' house, standing in her childhood bedroom, looking in the mirror and barely recognizing herself. The wedding dress was simple and elegant, white with delicate lace on the shoulders. Her hair was in a loose bun with a few strands framing her face. Jessica had done her makeup, keeping everything natural and perfect. You look unbelievably beautiful, Jessica said, wiping away a tear. Ethan is going to faint when he sees you. Stop crying. You're going to ruin your makeup too. I can't. My best friend is getting married. Linda walked in carrying the bouquet of white flowers. Emma, dear, it's almost time. Oh my. She stopped, hand over her mouth. My baby looks so beautiful. Mom, don't cry too. Too late, Linda was already crying. George, come see your daughter. George appeared in the doorway wearing a tuxedo, and even he, the toughest man Emma knew, had tears in his eyes. You look perfect, sweetheart." Emma felt her own tears threatening. "Dad, stop. If you cry, I'll cry, and then all the makeup will be gone." Catherine came in next, wearing her light green bridesmaid dress. The pastor is ready, the guests are seated, and Ethan is up front looking like he's about to have a nervous breakdown. Emma laughed. "He's nervous?" "Completely. He's pacing back and forth. Tyler had to make him sit down." "That's adorable." "It's ridiculous," Catherine said, though she was smiling. "You two are ridiculous and perfect for each other." The music began downstairs. It was time. Emma took a deep breath, grabbed her bouquet, and linked arms with her father. "Ready?" George asked. "More than ever." They walked down the stairs slowly. The ceremony would be in her parents' garden, decorated with white flowers and wooden chairs. The day was perfect, sunny with a light breeze. When Emma appeared at the garden entrance, she saw Ethan turn to look. The expression on his face made her heart stop for a second. It was pure love, complete admiration. She walked down the aisle smiling at the guests. Helen was there, crying. Tom stood beside Jessica. Grandma Ruth waved a handkerchief. Tyler was with Melissa, and so many other friends and family. But Emma only had eyes for Ethan. When she reached the altar, George kissed her forehead and placed her hand in Ethan's. "Take care of her," he whispered. "With my life," Ethan promised. The pastor began the ceremony, but Emma barely heard anything. She could only look at Ethan, who held her hands like they were the most precious thing in the world. "Ethan," the pastor said, "you may repeat your vows." Ethan cleared his throat, clearly emotional. "Emma, when I saw you in that park yelling about needing a boyfriend, I thought you might be my second chance, but I was wrong. You weren't my second chance. You were my destiny, my gift, my future. I promise to love you every day, to make you laugh when you're sad, to support you in all your dreams, and to remind you always of how incredible you are, today and always." Emma was crying openly now and didn't care about the makeup. "Emma," the pastor encouraged her gently. "Ethan," she began, her voice trembling, "you agreed to be my fake boyfriend for $5. Best investment of my life." Laughter echoed among the guests. "You showed me I deserved to be loved, that my dreams mattered, that I was enough. I promise to love you with all that I am, laugh at your bad jokes, support your crazy ideas, and remind you every day of how much you mean to me. Today and always." "The rings?" the pastor asked. Tyler stepped forward with the rings. Emma and Ethan placed them on each other's hands, their fingers intertwined. "Then, by the power given to me," the pastor announced with a smile, "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Ethan pulled Emma into a kiss as everyone clapped and cheered. When they pulled apart, he leaned his forehead against hers. "Hi, wife." "Hi, husband." The reception was perfect. Delicious food, lively music, laughter everywhere. Emma danced with her father, with Tyler, and with Grandma Ruth, who insisted she still had energy for one song. When it was time for the speech, Jessica grabbed the microphone with a huge smile. "I met Emma 10 years ago. Back then, she was a hardworking girl determined to make it on her own. And then she did the craziest thing I've ever seen anyone do. She hired a fake boyfriend for $5. Everyone laughed. But that crazy idea turned into the most beautiful love story I know. Emma and Ethan, you prove that sometimes the best beginnings come from the most unexpected places. Wishing you happiness forever." Everyone raised a toast. Emma wiped away tears of joy. Later, when the sun began to set, Emma and Ethan found a quiet moment alone near the tree in the garden. "Happy?" Ethan asked, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Happier than I ever imagined." "Who knew $5 could buy so much?" Emma laughed, resting her head on his shoulder. "It wasn't the $5, it was you. It was always you." They stayed there, holding each other, while the celebration continued around them. The journey had begun with desperation and a wild idea. It had gone through lies, revelations, and second chances. And now it ended here. No, this wasn't the end. This was the beginning again. As husband and wife, as partners, as two souls that had finally found their place. Emma looked at the wedding ring shining on her finger and smiled. $5 had been the best investment of her life, because it didn't just buy a fake boyfriend. It brought her a true love that would last forever. What did you think of Emma and Ethan's story? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to follow all our stories and enjoy more emotional stories by clicking here on the final screen.